How sweet is this? I have the same feeling as a lot of you. This is the best day of my life. Ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl 59 champions. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for making our post-game reaction video a part of your evening. And if you're waking up with us on Monday, that's phenomenal stuff, because that means that you probably partied all throughout the night and you're just trying to celebrate this epic, dominant, incredible Eagles victory over the Kansas City Chiefs in New Orleans on this Sunday, February 9th of 2025. 40-22, the final score from the Superdome, but that score makes it look like this game was actually close. From start to finish, pole to pole, minute 1 to 60, that goes down as one of the most dominant Super Bowl victories in the history of the National Football League. The Eagles straight up dominated and embarrassed the Chiefs on the big stage for millions and millions of people to witness worldwide. And for Philadelphia to get their revenge, and in this rematch of Super Bowl 57, to come through with the victory and to do it in this dominant fashion makes this victory so sweet. And I know back in 2017, when the Eagles dethroned Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, it was the first Lombardi trophy in the history of this organization. And it was a huge deal. I shed tears that night watching with some of the closest people to me in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Being able to be at that parade down Broad Street was a sight and a day that I will never forget. Seeing Jason Kelce in the Mummers gear, listening to his parade, throwing beers to Eagles on the float as they drove by, approaching City Hall, or approaching the Art Museum, past City Hall, was a lasting memory that was just epic. But for the Eagles, given how last year ended, having lost 6 of 7, how special this season was, the vibes around this team, and then the historical proportions that are included, that will be remembered with this game. And for Philadelphia to end the Chiefs' quest for a three-peat, to slay the dragon, take down Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Travis Kelce, Brett Veach, the Hunt family, and to do it after the heartbreaking nature of Super Bowl 57 makes this victory that much more significant, that much better. There had never been a team in the NFL that won 3 games in a Super Bowl championship in a row. The Chiefs were trying to be the first team to do that. And the Philadelphia Eagles said, Not only are we exacting revenge, we are going to go out there and we are going to thoroughly kick your ass. The numbers from this game, with what Philadelphia was able to do, define the word dominant. They punched the Chiefs in the chin from the start of this game all the way until the end. It was such a dominant victory that the Eagles had their backups playing with the few minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It was such a dominant victory for Philadelphia that Kenny Pickett ended the game at quarterback when Jalen Hurts was still healthy. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl champion. Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. And for anybody to say that winning isn't a quarterback stat, suck it. Because Jalen Hurts is the epitome of a winner. Everywhere he's gone, every team he's been on, he's won. He's won on the biggest of stages. And he's performed well in pressure cooker moments. And what a time for Jalen Hurts to play his best football in the final 2 games of the season. in the NFC Championship game and in Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans on February 9th of 2025. Super Bowl MVP, 17 of 22, 221 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, including a dime to DeVonta Smith on a long ball. And he also added 11 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown. 3 total touchdowns against Steve Spagnuolo. I was hearing from everybody, Eagles are not going to win this game. Jalen Hurts can't throw. Nick Sirianni isn't going to be able to win the big one. Well, cheers to all of you for hating on the Birds. Because Philadelphia got it done in dominant fashion, and now Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts will be remembered forever in the city of Philadelphia as Super Bowl champions. You win a ring in this city, it's just different. You win a ring in this city to cap off a 14-3 year, and you do it against the team that you lost to that you should have beaten 2 years ago, victory tastes so good. And think about everything that transpired throughout this year. And think about how the Eagles responded to last year. They lost 6 of 7. They got embarrassed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round. Everybody wanted Nick Sirianni fired. People thought that Jalen Hurts was not the answer at quarterback. This year, they start 2-2. They go into the bye week, week 5. It was ugly. Some people were calling for Nick Sirianni's head again. They beat the Browns coming out of the bye in week 6. Even when they won that game, Sirianni was jawing it up with Eagles fans. People wanted him fired then. Then we started to see that this team could be special. The defense turned it around. Vic Fangio turned Philadelphia into the number 1 defense in the National Football League. This coaching job tonight is maybe the best defensive coaching performance in Super Bowl history. And what he did with the scraps of last year, a few additions this offseason, and to turn it around in the nature that the Eagles turned it around this year on the defensive side of the ball, it goes down as one of the most incredible coaching performances that we'll ever see in NFL history. And for Vic Fangio to do it as a Dunmore native, as a guy who grew up as an Eagles fan, now he's bringing home a 2nd Lombardi trophy to Philadelphia. But this team, constructed by Howie Roseman, he made perfect move after perfect move. Signing Saquon Barkley, signing Zach Bond, bringing back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, signing Mekhi Becton, drafting Quinyon Mitchell, drafting Cooper DeJean. Move after move after move after move. Howie got it done. And he used last year's motivation. This organization used last year's motivation to win the Super Bowl championship. And what a special season it was. They won 10 games in a row after that bye week. Saquon Barkley has an incredible season. There were great individual performances across the board, but the coaching performance from Nick Sirianni, being a head coach is not just about calling plays. It's about building a culture. It's about relating to your players. It's about making in-game and in-season adjustments. It's about the development of some of your players. It's about hiring the right coaches and coordinators around you. It's about managing the game. Nick Sirianni is now a Super Bowl champion. He's an elite coach, and he's going to get a bag as he enters the final year of his contract. He's going to get a contract extension. These players love him. And I asked him this week from New Orleans how managing the game, being the CEO, head coach, overseeing the operation, has benefited him as a coach. We saw it this year. You don't have to call plays to be an elite coach in this league. And if you can oversee the entire operation, it allows you to work on everything that matters that brings you to this point. Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni said after the game, Kellen, let's run this shit back. Quote, verbatim. Kellen Moore probably going to be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints in the same building that the Eagles won the Super Bowl in tonight. He's been known as a pass-happy offensive coordinator. They turn into a run-heavy team. They rely and lean on the elite, special, one-of-one player that is Saquon Barkley and their great offensive line. Good teams make adjustments and cater to their strengths. Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni did that. And then Vic Fangio. Just an incredible coaching job this year. I want to read out the numbers at halftime here because what this Eagles defense did, they probably should have won Super Bowl MVP, but it had to go to an individual player. At the break, Eagles are up, 24-0? 13 first downs to the Chiefs 1. 39 total plays to the Chiefs 20. 179 yards to the Chiefs 23. Both teams had 7 total drives. 117 yards passing to 20. 62 rushing yards to 3. 2 of 2 in the red zone. Chiefs didn't even get into Eagles territory. And the Chiefs had 1 first down in the first 30 minutes. You think Nick Sirianni doesn't play a role in the game planning and the preparation that resulted in what we saw tonight? He's the head coach of the football team. He runs the operation. And the Eagles, to beat the Chiefs tonight, needed to do a few things that I had talked about over the last 2 weeks, and that's why you subscribe to this channel, because I know ball, Chip knows ball, we know ball, and we have the receipts. The Eagles needed to get a pass rush of Patrick Mahomes. Exterior pass rush, interior pass rush. The Buccaneers gave us a formula for how the Eagles could beat the Chiefs back in 2020. They set the record for the most quarterback pressures in the history of a Super Bowl. The Eagles did not sack Patrick Mahomes once in Super Bowl 57. Well, in this game, they got that pass rush, and it was a dominant pass rush. Patrick Mahomes was running for his life. And Philadelphia able to sack Mahomes 6 times in this game. They were all over him, and they did not blitz. They got home with 4. And so the Eagles needed to do that. The Eagles needed to win the turnover battle. They did, because of that defensive pass rush. So strong and stout on the back end. They forced 2 interceptions of Patrick Mahomes. They scored 14 points off those 2 picks. They needed to be uber clean on special teams. They were. They needed to win on the margins. They did. They needed to do all of the little things right. They did. They needed to play perfect. They did. And in the process, they throttle Kansas City 40-22. When you go up against a team like Kansas City that is going for 3 straight Super Bowl championships, you have to do the little things right. You have to iron out the wrinkles. You have to make adjustments. You have to win in all 3 phases of the game. Your game planning and preparation has to be flawless, and your in-game execution has to be flawless. The Eagles needed to play a perfect game against Kansas City, and they pretty much played a perfect game against Kansas City. It's just incredible in all facets with the way that the Eagles were able to dump truck and bully the Kansas City Chiefs. Think about how many teams have tried to do that. They haven't been able to do it. But with the way that Howie Roseman built this roster, with the way that this Eagles team was coached, with how talented and deep and complete they were, that resulted in this dominant victory here tonight. And how about this? Like, the Chiefs take away Saquon Barkley to the point where his longest rush of the game was 10 yards. He carried it 25 times for 57 yards, 2.3 yards per attempt. We knew that the Chiefs were going to go all out and try to stop the run. And so the Eagles were able to adapt to that. They were able to evolve within the game. And Jalen Hurts had to play well if the Eagles took away the run. And he did. 3 total touchdowns. Almost 300 total yards. And for the second straight Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Think about that. Give the man his flowers. Give the man his credit. Give the man the recognition that he deserves. Because he is an elite quarterback in this league. and now he's a Super Bowl champion. And the detractors, the haters, they can't say shit. Eagles Super Bowl gear is available, by the way. So much gear, myself and Chip. We're just going to be giving dollars out to fanatics. Chatsports.com/EaglesSB. That link is going to be down below in the show notes, and we'll attach it to the pinned comment of our post-game Super Bowl victory reaction. You have hats, you have shirts, you have modern-day looking shirts, vintage tees like this one, you have hoodies, whatever you want to celebrate one of the most epic and historic Super Bowl wins of all time. You got it right here. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/EaglesSB. And you know what's funny as we move forward here? Philadelphia is a city that is hated on. The Eagles are a franchise that is hated on. Nick Sirianni is hated. Jalen Hurts is doubted. But a lot of the nation and a lot of America was pulling for Philadelphia in this football game because they did not want to see a Kansas City Chiefs three-peat. And the Eagles end that three-peat, and they do so in dominant fashion. And we're going to remember this game as a, excuse my language, mute it if you want to, holy shit type of performance. The Eagles literally, from the opening kickoff until the end of the game, kicked the Chiefs' ass. And if it weren't for that ridiculous PI call on the first drive of the game, on that fourth down, which Nick Sirianni went for it, loved the mentality, by the way, because you can't coach scared against the Chiefs, and the Eagles did not, the Eagles could have scored, and they would have scored on that first drive. But they come back and respond to that bad call when you're thinking, oh boy, here we go. The Zebras are going to give the Chiefs the whistle. And the defense responds. They give up a first down on the first play. Then they get off the field 3 plays later. And they're just all over Patrick Mahomes. They're dominating the line of scrimmage. Cooper DeJean, pick 6 of Mahomes. Zach Bond, interception of Mahomes. They had the Chiefs' receivers and weapons blanketed. Travis Kelce did nothing throughout this game. 4 catches for 39 yards. And this Vic Fangio coaching performance is one of the best defensive coaching performances in the history of the NFL. I mean, just think about what the Eagles did here. The Chiefs had 1 first down at halftime. This is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid that we're talking about. And how often is Andy Reid's record talked about and discussed with a week of extra preparation? Andy Reid also said this week, one of my biggest rivals is Vic Fangio. The other one is Bill Belichick. Vic Fangio is 0 of 8 against Patrick Mahomes prior to this game. Gets a big victory. Trends sometimes are meant to be broken, and the Eagles ended that trend. With that, with the Chiefs going for the three-peat, in the previous instances of a Super Bowl rematch between 2 quarterbacks, every time previously, the first winner of that Super Bowl has come back and won the second. Not tonight. But look at these defensive numbers here, man. Zach Bond, 7 tackles, 1 pass breakup, an interception, a quarterback hit. Josh Sweat is going to get paid by another team in free agency this offseason. He hired Drew Rosenhaus. 2.5 sacks, 2 TFLs, 3 quarterback hits. Milton Williams, another player who's going to get paid. 3 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, 1 quarterback hit. Cooper DeJean, a rookie on his birthday, had the pick 6 of Patrick Mahomes. Of note, when he was at Iowa, he had 7 picks. 3 of them went back for touchdowns. Has an interception against Mahomes tonight, goes back for a score. That's a playmaker right there. Quinyon Mitchell, great in coverage. Gave up a garbage time touchdown, who cares? Jordan Davis, he had a sack of Patrick Mahomes and a TFL. Jalix Hunt, a rookie 4th-round pick. He was getting consistent snaps. He was ahead of Bryce Huff in the rotation. Think about that. And with Josh Sweat probably leaving, Jalix Hunt's going to step up. With Milton Williams probably leaving, Moro Ojomo is going to have a bigger role. Jake Elliott, perfect on his field goal attempts tonight. 4 of 4, long of 50. He accounted for 16 points. And the sign of a great team is everybody making plays. How about Avonte Maddox having a pass breakup on a 4th down around midfield? Everybody stepped up. Everybody played a role. And this is an Eagles team that goes down in history as the team to take down the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty. I want everybody to remember this night on February 9th of 2025. I want you to celebrate. I want you to remember where you were, who you were with. I want you to remember the feeling of the buzzer winding down to 000s. I want you to remember what happened when Nick Sirianni got the yellow Gatorade bath. I want you to remember when the Eagles hoisted that Lombardi trophy. I want you to remember when the Eagles colored confetti was raining down at the Superdome in New Orleans. I want you to remember how Jalen Hurts for a second straight Super Bowl outplayed Patrick Mahomes, but this time he got the dub and this time he won Super Bowl MVP. I want you to remember the Jalen Hurts tush push for a touchdown, the dot to DeVonta Smith, the touchdown throw to A.J. Brown. I want you to remember the Cooper DeJean pick 6. I want you to remember the Zach Bond interception, which led to 7. I want you to remember how Philadelphia kicked the Chiefs' asses up front and sacked Patrick Mahomes time and time and time again. I want you to remember how Philadelphia handed Andy Reid an L. I want you to remember all this. We don't know when we will see a moment like this ever again. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, I wasn't sure when I'd see a moment like this. Again, I wasn't sure when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017 if I would ever see a Super Bowl championship. I'll tell you what, that Eagles victory over New England was the best day of my life. I shed tears on that night. This tops that because of what it meant to take down Kansas City with everything that we've heard, with all of the stuff that the detractors and the haters said. Nick Sirianni stinks. Jalen Hurts can't do it. Eagles are never going to win a Super Bowl. Add fuel to the fire. I'll never forget being alongside producer Chip, being in New Orleans, and just observing how serious the Eagles were, how focused the Eagles were, their business-like approach. The Super Bowl experience from 2 years ago benefited them in this game. They were happy to be there 2 years ago. This year, it was about winning, and they got the victory. And they did so with a dominant showing. And now the Eagles have won 2 Super Bowls since 2017. And this young core, they're going to be around for a little while. The Eagles are not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. And when you win that first one, you're hungry for the second. Who's to say the Eagles can't be back here? And they're built to continue to be competitive and on this stage. Great offensive line. Great defensive line. You have your quarterback. Skill position players are locked up. In free agency, bring back Mekhi Becton. Bring back Zach Bond. If you let Josh Sweat and Milton Williams walk, that's fine. You have Jalix Hunt and Moro Ojomo to replace him. People are going to want to come to the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to celebrate this now, but the thing that I love about Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and Nick Sirianni, they'll celebrate this Lombardi trophy. This one's special, man. This one's special. They're cutthroat competitors. And in a line of business like that, that is what is required to continue to be great, to have sustained greatness. The Eagles won another one, and the Eagles can get another one. And they could be back on this stage next year. Cheers to that, man. The champagne tastes so sweet. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. I know I rambled for a while, but how could you not? when the Birds are hoisting their second Lombardi trophy and we're seeing another parade down Broad Street. Let me leave you with this for one final time of the 2024 season. In the aftermath of this 40-22 win, EAGLES, Eagles! One word, champions.